Alright, hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to do something a little different today and talk about one of the big issues I have with Destiny fashion in general, which is gauntlets. I have two major issues with them, one being specific to warlocks, and the other can be found across all of the classes in the game. So I'm going to start off by talking about the issue that affects all the classes. So this is across Titan, Warlock, Hunter, and that's the default hand that you have. It looks fine. I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have is I'd say 90% of gauntlets in the game don't do anything to the hand. And if they do, it's very minimal, except for like 10 total across all classes, like the whole game. I think it's just a really big issue because the hands are the only things you're going to see in-game, because they're holding your guns, and you throw your grenades with them, your melee abilities, everything is with your hands. So I guess you can see your legs in first person if you look down, but that's not going to happen much. So I think it's a really important thing that the hands are detailed nice, because that's the only thing you're going to be seeing. And it just shocks me how little most gauntlets do to the hands. I'm going to ramble a lot in this video, by the way, but yeah, I think more gauntlets should affect the hands, and I'll highlight the ones that do, because some do it really well, and I just wish more would. And the next is, specifically the Warlock, is that since Destiny 2, Warlock Gauntlets only affect the forearm down. It doesn't go past the elbow. And in D1, it went all the way up to the shoulders, just like all the other classes, but in D2, it's just the forearm and the hand. And since hands are barely ever affected by gloves, it's basically just the bracer. It's just, many of them just seem so uninspired, and it's just a big shame, because with Warlock fashion, the chest piece now dictates like 80% of how you look, because it covers your shoulders down to the elbows, your whole chest, and it has that skirt design on most of them, so even covers the legs a lot of the time, depending on the set. And just a side note, a lot of the like skirt designs for the warlocks kind of just look like Titan marks. I feel like it's a bit of an overlap with like design themes, so I wonder if there's any way they can really do anything about that. But so yeah, like total body coverage, chest pieces are like 80%, and then the only other thing that stands out really is helmets. So for transmog, it's nice because you don't have to spend a lot of tokens on like legs or arms. You can focus mainly just on the chest and helmets, but just for overall like the health of Warlock design, it's not the best. So I'm going to be going over every Warlock glove that I have, and then we'll be looking at the exotics for every class, because I feel like those should be the best of what each class has to offer. So starting at the back of my list here, we have Gloves of the Hezen Lord, and as you can see really quickly here, it follows this like leather wrap style for the back of the hand there, and then it just has a pretty bulky bracer attached. And on the opposite hand, it has like a spike, kind of an antenna thing, you can see right there. So these are okay. They're not the worst, they're not the best. I'd say they're like above average. I do like the bracer design. So here we have some of the green armors. A lot of these are just the same thing, just the bracer is a bit different, like the cuff there. So you can see it all follows that like leather wrapped. And then here we have cord wrapped, which you'll see a bit too with like Iron Banner and stuff. These are actually cool. These look okay in first person, since that cord wrapping goes up to the knuckles about. So I like those a lot. These are pretty unique, these aspirant gloves. It's like a mix between the leather wrapped gloves and then the cord wrapped gloves for the knuckle there, and you can just see some of the shaders on it. These are kind of cool. I've never seen gloves that like share the same design. Going on next, we have refugee gloves, just another kind of leather wrapped type. And here we have the Damage Warlock gloves. These are really similar to the Ego Talon, which are similar to the Solstice armors, so they're all kind of the same model. This damaged one's kind of cool just for the novelty of having like a damaged glove. And then here's the Wise Warlock, but you see here with Ego Talon, it's basically the same thing. A negligible difference. Farseeker's Reach is just a kind of bracer. Charon's Cure, a leather wrapped one with a kind of big cuff. Dreambane, just a bracer. It has a fur part that kind of goes to the back of the hand, but it shades really poorly, so I don't tend to use these very often at all. The Europa armor is kind of just better than it. These Thorium Holt gloves, they have this kind of cool like circuit band, which is kind of neat, and that triangular shape on the back of the hand, but I just don't like the look of these a whole lot. These Tesseract and Victi gloves is just a bracer, so don't stand out at all to me. The Pyrrhic Ascent gloves are this season's Trials armor, and I really like these. I like that cloth wrapped hand look, and then those like dials on each knuckle. And I'll show you quickly here. One of the Season of Optimancy shaders, here Cinderchar, adds a really cool pattern onto the cloth here, and it works for some like cloth textures. You have to see, it doesn't work for all of them, but I like these a lot, and they look really nice in first person too. They just make your hand a little bald, so it can be awkward. Here's Season of the Chosen gauntlets. You have that thing on the back of the hand there, and then that wrapping around like the fingers and stuff. It's pretty cool. I just find them kind of ugly, but at least they change up the hand a bit. Vigil of Heroes is kind of a leather wrapped type, except it goes up all the way to like the knuckles, which is nice. That one is the same. Here's just Solstice, which you can see is kind of just Ego Talon, but with a better bracer. That glows if you have like those. Here's the Crown of Sorrow gloves. Again, if they had anything on the hands, I'd like these a lot, because I like that design of the bracer, but there's nothing going for it there. Here we have the Spire of Stars and Eater gauntlets. They're basically the same thing. Spire just has a bit more going on at the elbow end. I know a lot of people call these ugly, but it does change up the hand, so I'm at least grateful for that. And you can do some pretty unique looks for Warlock if you want it to be more bulky. Wraps of the Fulminator and Wraps of Ministers, both just the Leviathan. One just has a purple glow for prestige. These go a bit to the back of the hand, but then they have these fingertips here, which is really nice, and they shade as well, so those actually look really nice in first person for some guns and reload animations. And it's one of the only gloves that does something to the fingertips. Here's the Moonfang. It's just a bracer. These are just bracers. Nothing special at all. Philomath is actually really good. It has this back plate on the hand, and then you also have metal plating for the middle, index, and thumb, and those shade as well, so you can get some pretty cool looks with these. I like using them a lot. I have a really good stat rolled one, so I use that a lot of the time, so I haven't needed to transmog it yet. These Phobos Warden ones have a knuckle plate there, and the bracer's kind of cool. You can pull off some like junkyard looks with it. Yeah, so these aren't bad at all. Here's the Europa Gauntlets, which are just a better version of the Dreambane ones. The fur changes color, and it has a kind of a back plate there for the hand, so these are good. Ego Talon we've seen, it's just the Solstice. Iron Will has a little bit of thing on the back plate there, not that great. Iron Truage is going to be that cord wrapped glove we saw earlier here, and then it just has an Iron Banner bracer attached to it. So this is pretty cool. It's kind of modular, and you can see it again here on the Remembrance gloves. Those other two are just bracers again. So you see here it's cord wrapped, and then you can kind of just pick which bracer you want to use. Here's the Garden of Salvation gloves. I don't like this armor set in general because of that unshaderable part, the like concrete looking one. And these don't do anything to affect the hand at all, but They have a glow. Doesn't change color with shaders, but hey, it glows. Here's the Last Wish gloves. They're really plain and they don't really stand out to me, but they do change that back of the hand there with that wrapping. Here's the Deep Stone gloves. These are pretty good. Those metal pieces on the knuckles don't shade at all in the fingertips, but it's a nice default color that matches with a lot of stuff, so these are really good. And it has like that stuff on the back of the hand. Again, these are all just bracers really. Nothing stand out. Here's another like Ego Talon copy. Sovereign is just the Philomath gloves, but it has that engraving on the back plate there. Here's just another bracer. Goes a bit past the wrist, so it's okay. Just a bracer. These are just the cord wrapped ones, but they have that bracelet there, and then that, I don't know, that metal bit you see on when someone has like their hand wrapped in gauze, like metal pin, and then you have rings as well. So these are actually really nice because they all shade too. So if you find a nice shader to go with it, it can look really neat. Prodigal gloves has kind of some leather wrapping on the back of the hand there, and then a plate that goes a bit past the wrist. Here's just the same thing, but this shades a little bit differently. Here, just some leather wrapped gloves. Opulent Scholar has some leather wrapping on that hand there, and a pretty nice bracer, but overall pretty plain. All the Gambit Prime ones are literally just a bracer, and then the glow changes, so not that good. And the old Shaper could have been really cool. I like that design there on like the back of the forearm, but again, nothing on the hand, and you'll see that's just most of these. Here's the Escalation Protocol gloves. These were my favorite in year one because it adds that thing to the back of the hand, and then these things on the back of the fingers there, those are really nice. Channeling wraps, these are really good. These are from Prophecy, and these have that back plate that goes past the knuckles even, and it has these like spikes that go past the elbow. These really look really nice. Substitutional Alloy is just a bracer, but you have some moss there if you're into that. Scatterhorn, these are kind of ugly and they make your hand balled up, but it does have that padding that goes up to the knuckles, the second knuckles, so props to that. Just not my type. Reverie Dawn is kind of just like the Philomath gloves, but without the finger plating, so I'd just rather use these instead, but if you don't like the finger plating, these are pretty good. Some more bracers. Kairos Function is just like a leather wrapped one. More bracers, bracer, another bracer. All these are just so plain. Here's my favorite gloves in the game, the Blood Lineage. They shade kind of poorly, but they have these fingertips here, these like vampire claws that are fantastic. These look really nice in first person, and just when you inspect your character here, you see the claws, and they're really nice. So even if they don't match with sets, a lot of the time I'll just put them on because they'll look good in first person. Only bad thing I can say is those claws don't shade. That's it. Lux Gloves is a bracer kind of thing, but it goes past the knuckles there, so it's kind of cool. Forbidden Visage is just a bracer with a tiny bit of that back plating there for the back of the hand. Siegebreaker has that cloth piece that goes up to the back of the hand. These are nice. It's like when you have a jacket that's too long, but it has this really cool screen there, and you can see that with bows sometimes, and I just really like the look of these, and yeah. Here's the Seventh Seraph gloves. I don't think I've ever used these. These are just a really basic like bracer design, and they aren't even that nice in my opinion, so I've just never used them. We're gonna skip this one for now. Legatus gloves are basically just the same as the one earlier from Season of the Chosen, but it has this bracelet part there. So if you like this design, it's just like an upgrade. Steeplechase has this really nice thrall jaw at the end. And some cool like wrapping on the bracer. I really wish I had something for the hands there. Use the Saint gloves. Doesn't do anything really to affect the hand. These are really nice, the North Light. It shades really well, and then it has that nice plating for the back of the hand there, so these look really nice for like more elegant armor designs. Phenotype Plasticity is one of my old favorites. It still works well. It has that cool triangular shape for the wrist there, and then the back plating has a glow on it that changes the shaders, so these are really nice if you're going for like a more futuristic look. These are just kind of like a leather wrapped style, except the leather wrapping is like an armor plate. So these are really nice if you want like a bulky kind of bulky look for your warlock. Dragonfly has that piece that goes past the knuckles, which is cool. It's just I find this glove really ugly, so I just don't like to use it. The Bialova gloves is just this bracer that shades, doesn't even change that back plate. These are one of the worst. It's just a bracer. These are nice because the cuff's so big you can sometimes see it in first person. This one, it's kind of just the novelty of having those like coins make up the bracer, but not the best. And then interlaced gloves. These are the best gloves in the game, I think. It has a glow for the arm, and then it goes up through the elbow, up to the wrist, and then each finger will glow individually, and then that glow changes the shader as well. And it has plating on the back of the hand, spikes on the knuckles, it has those cords going down to the fingertips, and all shades. So these are definitely one of the best, if not the best, Warlock gloves, and they might also be one of the best gloves in the entire game for all the classes. And I really hope more gloves in the future follow the lead of these. So let's take a little break from just looking at gloves in the inventory and let's see them in action. So these are all the ones I really like for Warlock. So these are going to be the Prophecy Dungeon ones. And as you can see, they're okay with like hand cannons and scouts, but they look really nice with bows. And you can see that like spike sticking out there from the elbow. And yeah, I wish bows were a little bit more played, because a lot of the gloves look nice with bows, and it's just a lot of the time I can't fit one into my loadout without like hurting myself badly. So here's the Rasputin gloves from Escalation Protocol. These are really good in year one. We've gotten some better ones since then, but these are still pretty nice and better than like the vast majority of gloves. Here's those Philomath. This is that one that has engravings, so it's a little bit different, but as you can see here, it looks pretty good. Bows, scouts looks really nice, especially with the reload there, and then hand cannons, the knuckles really like show, and yeah, it looks really nice and clean. Moving on to the vampire glove ones. These you see more in like the reloads when you're putting things in and out. You can see the fingernail there holding the scout rifle trigger, and then with bows you can see the fingers a lot, especially on like the drawstring there. And then really quick, just the Season of the Splicer ornament. And for hand cannons, they look pretty good, but you can't really see the glow. You can see the glow a bit on the thumb there with scouts, and then with bows you can see the glow coming from the elbow and then going down to the fingers. Taking a look at the Warlock exotics, we're going to start off with Sunbracers. I like these a lot. It's a really vibrant animation on the bracer, and then you have that eye symbol on the back of the hand and the fingers. Karnsteins, these are just a worse version of those vampire ornaments I have from the Halloween event. They have nothing on the nails, which for like vampire gloves, I feel like they should. And that ornament just adds some like plates on the two knuckles there. Winter's Guile, I think, is the worst looking exotic, especially because the cool looking part is on the other hand here. So you don't even see anything cool on your main hand. Aeon Soul, I really like these because it's almost like a whole new model for the hand. And it shades well. It's a unique look. Ophidian Aspects are really great too. They kind of have that like leather wrapped bottom, but then you have the snake above it, so it makes it stand out. And then the ornament is really nice and removes that like leather wrapping, and then it's just straight up snakes, which is cool. Claws of Ahamkara, I like these a lot. They have that cool like dragon looking stuff on the back of the hand and for those 3 fingers, and then that like feathery stuff on the bracer is really cool. Controverse hold, I really like that void looking strap. Those are really nice. Getaway Artist, they're pretty cool looking. It's like a full like leather glove for the hand. Those are nice. Just a tiny bit plain. And then Necrotic Grips, these are cool. I like that like wiring for the fingers, and that like thorn looking animation effect on the hands are really nice. Next up we have the Hunter Exotics. We're going to start off with young Ahamkara's spine. These are cool. I like them a lot. That skull on the shoulder is really nice, and here you can just see how much more arms are for Hunters and Titans compared to Warlock. The ornament's really nice too. Kind of like cool, like futuristic look. Mechanier's trick sleeve is pretty bad. You have that thumb thing there, and then you have like that trick sleeve thing under, but you barely ever see it. Aeon Swift again look really nice. You have some like knuckle pads there, like metal. Those are cool. Shinobu's Vow. I like the look of these, and I like that sticker on the shoulder. I just really wish there was something on the hands there, because they're totally plain. Sealed Ahamkar's Grasps are my favorite gloves in the entire game. I think these look so cool. I'll just show the animation a few times just because of how sick it is. And they shade pretty well too. They're just sick. Shards of Galanor, kind of like Shinobu's Vow. I like the look of them, but again, there's nothing on the hands. They could have added some of that rusted metal there. Oathkeeper, I don't know if these glow differently in game or something, but these look pretty cool. You see that bracer part because they're using bows, so it's not too bad. If you're using that exotic, you're using bows. Liar's Handshake, this one's really cool, and I like that knife design. I feel like more gloves should do stuff like that. Kefri's Sting, I'll give it a pass for not having anything on the hands because you have a big bug on the wrist there. And then Athras Embrace. I know these look different when you're playing in game depending on like how much kills you get with the throwing knife, so I'll kind of give it a pass for not having anything on the hands, but they really should have something there. Now I've got Titan Feedback Fence. I like a lot. It's kind of a cool design. Doomfangs are really sick. I really like the look of these, and they have stuff affecting the hands there that like almost looks like rotting flesh there, and then they have those things on the knuckles. Really nice looking exotic. Syntheseps, I really don't understand why you couldn't have something on the hand, but I like the like pulsing vein look there, like the Hulk or something, and then the Siva ornaments is really nice. Aeon Safe, again, these look really nice on every character. I like how Titans have that strip of like a different shaded part there. Ashen Wake, these look really cool. And they shade nice as well, and they have like cool backplate and like those things on the knuckles. Worm's God Caress, freaking huge pauldrons, but again, like most gauntlets, doesn't have anything on the hands here. Ursa Furiosa does, has a really nice, almost like, I don't know, like a knuckle, like brass knuckle, but like on the back of the hand there. Those are really cool. Stronghold has a bit of a backplating there, and then this giant bracer thing on that other hand for blocking with swords. C10's Ramparts, I really don't know why they couldn't have like a smaller version of the shoulders there on the back of the hand. Just something, because I like that shoulder pad design. I just wish it was incorporated more. And then Icewall Mantle, these are pretty good. You have that little block of ice on the back of the hand there, and then you have a pretty cool animated effect on the particles there of the ice. Alright, thanks for watching and sticking around for my ramblings about gloves in a video game. If you have any input on the subject or you have any ideas of what they could do, feel free to comment below. I just hope we see them do a bit more with the hands in the coming seasons and for Witch Queen. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support recently. You guys are really great. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.